Great. All right, so we've done entire new site 4 using functional based components and using the use effect. But now let's go ahead and convert this over to class based components. But before, no, I'll just do it all in the same branch. I'll just copy this down. So what I'm going to do is start at the top with app.js, go through my pages, and then go through my individual components. So up here, I'm going to copy down my app component. I'm just going to have a functional component. Class-based component. All right. So I'm just going to look at everything still working. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is in my index. Oh, got rid of that. Why is that reference here? All right, I guess it's cool, whatever. It's not really an error or it's not breaking anything. So first thing I'm gonna do, class, I'm gonna make this a class extends component. I'm gonna have to import, what did I just do? I'm gonna have to import component at the top, which I did. All right, and now at the very bottom, I'm gonna have to render because the class-based components, the last function that always runs is that render method. So if I come up here and look and do a hard refresh, it's loading. All right, cool. Now it is loading. So that that's working right there. All right. Any questions on the app component? All right, let's move on to the home page. Home page is going to be a little bit different because we are dealing with a more complex component. It's got a bunch of props and state. So let's go ahead and class-based components, functional component. So I'm going to comment out a functional component like so. I'm going to import the component class from React at the top because I'm going to need that. So I'm going to do class homepage extends component. All right, so I've got 3 state variables. I can either do it in the constructor or I can create those state variables here. I'm going to say articles equals null, message equals null, and loading is null. So I replace those 3 state variables. Those 3 state hook with this state variable. Now in place of use effect, I can use the component did mount lifecycle method. So just down here, I'm going to do component did mount like so. And in here, I'm just gonna add that there. Why am I getting an error here? There we go. So I had the component did mount took place of the use effect. I still have the set timeout just to simulate loading. All right. I'll actually add that up here as well. All right. So now with this handle search, the only thing I need to do with this handle search is get rid of that const. Because this is a class, we don't have to, you don't declare variables with like let and const within classes. As long as they're within, only if when they're in functions. And then down here at the very bottom, I can render like so. And all this stuff should go inside of that render. I could declare this handle search within the render, because again, the render is just a function. If I did that, I would need a const at that. But if I did everything right, everything should still be working. It is not working. So let's see what's going on here. Because I'm using class-based variables, all of my set articles, set message, set loading hooks can't be set like that. So I need to use this dot set state. And I'm going to do articles equals response, and loading is false like that. So that takes place of that set articles and set loading. Up here, I'll also need to do this dot set state. And I only want to do the loading is true like that. And then down here, search query set loading, I need to use that this dot set state in place of that. And then same thing with the set state down here. Instead of articles, I'm doing it search response, loading, and then finally I can set the message to this message. So that set state took place of that. Now, in here, the handle search, since this is a class, we need this keyword. And if we're accessing state variables in class-based components, we need this dot state loading, this dot state message, this dot state message, and then articles. I need this dot state dot articles, and I need to pass those this dot state dot articles as well. So everything looks okay. Let's go back and see if everything is working. There we go. But now let's see if we can search for stuff. VOL. Did that actually return? Yep. So the reason, so I think I talked to somebody yesterday, is that I didn't need like a component did update because I changed state already. So I changed articles to this, set loading. So it automatically triggered a re-render, and then the component did not. Again, so there's my 8. Great. Cool. Any questions about the homepage? All right. Let's go to the article page. So this might be a little bit different because we're using React Router DOM version 6. And they use hooks for that. So I don't know if this is even possible, but we'll give it a shot. All right. So the homepage, we've got functional components. We got a functional component there. Let's copy this down. It's going to be a class-based component. Let's comment out the functional component. We'll import component like so. All right. So let's see if we can do this because I haven't done this one yet. Extends component. So it looks like we're already having some errors here. So let's go ahead with the component did mount. Component did mount. Let's grab, let's actually first set some state equals article as initially null. So we can get rid of that. Use effect. Let's say, then set a set article data. We can this dot set state article. I think it's just called data, like so. Get rid of that. What am I getting? I'm getting an error there. It's probably because of that. All right, let's see. So we can do this dot state dot article. We're going to need that return or the, I'm sorry, that render. But now the article ID, how do we extract the article ID from that? So I'm just going to console log this dot props. I'm just going to hard code that initially. So if we go to articles, oh, I'm just going to click on, do a hard refresh, loading articles, click on an article. I get an article with an ID of 1. So it looks like props is null, or there aren't any props. So we can say React router DOM v6 class-based components, use params. That is not a good answer. Let's just see if that is correct. So it looks like capital navigate instead of use navigate. So navigate, it's not what we want though. Memory, do we have history? Does anybody remember off the top of their head if they've done this?
I did mine in class-based components, and I don't remember exactly why we went back to version 5, but that's where I went to get it working.
Okay.
I think something in version 6 was incompatible with class-based components.
And it might be that, but let's see. So here is one from a little while ago. Again, I don't like how we all know there's no longer. So maybe we have access to history. that doesn't make sense. Well, let's see it. Why the hell not? All right. I'm gonna import, use navigate. And where did he do this at? Oh, crap. So he did this in a function. So that doesn't make sense. All right. They're all function-based components. Yeah, TypeScript. Maybe this one we just won't use. React router DOM v history. So that's version 6 or version 5 v6. Always just ask GitHub. All right, so that's the old way. Class or can always do that. Trying to think. Add history to React class-based components. No. Maybe we can't. So here. Let's use history. Might just have to keep that one as a functional based components. So you used to have this props.history. But I don't have history access to that history object anymore. Just want to see if I do. Yeah. So there's gotta be a way to do it. React router DOM v6 class-based components. Oh, lovely. I'm just gonna move on from that. I'm just gonna, because it doesn't look like the article page will work. Will a section page work? Are we using use params? We are using use params in that. Try to think. So since we officially moved to v6 and React router DOM, we're going to be limited with our use for class-based components. So I'm just going to keep section, but let's look at nav. This should be pretty straightforward. Functional components. Oh. We'll create this as a class component. Class-based component. So this one we can just do class extends component. Very bottom, we could render. Move this return into the render. Get rid of that. Create nav items. All right, and then here we can do this dot create nav items. Oh, maybe we can't with this use navigate now. Capital navigate. Router DOM. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Oh no. Where the hell? All right. Do you have an example? So we got navigate. All right. How does it work? So a navigate elements changes the current location when it is rendered. It's a component wrapper around use navigate. Accepts all the same arguments as props. All right, so navigate. To I love that. All right, so we've got navigate, replace true. I don't know what that means. Let's see what we got. Maybe that works. And where's that use navigate come from? Go to that. Not sure if that's going to work. Can always give it a shot. What is this for? This is the app nav. Let's see how many errors we have. Article page is not defined. Where the hell does it say that? At the article page. Oh, that could be it. All right, let's see if our navigation works. No, it does not. So on click, do I just do navigate? Maybe. All right, on click is not a function. Interesting. So again, maybe this won't work with regards to two. So yeah, that looks like that's a component. So, I mean, I could literally just get rid of all that crap. Right? But that doesn't make sense because then it'll just. So if the user navigate to dashboard, replace true. I haven't used this before. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But this is a component, so that's probably not gonna.
I use the link tag. I don't know if that's unique to version 5.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely use the link tag. I was just seeing. So it'd be like link. Like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that will work too. I was just trying to keep everything logic wise. So yeah, so that's the warning child. So that will work. But I just wanted to keep like the on clicks and all that to work. But this does work. So I can always just do key I +1. Get rid of that there. But now just it's not as appetizing or as appealing. Let's go to the article page. So this should be pretty straightforward. Functional component. This just takes in props. All right, so let's comment that out. Class-based component. Turn this into a class. Extends component. We don't need. We can actually do all this inside of the render. Destructuring, all that fun stuff. And we just need a this dot props. This dot props. And that should all work with the article. I go to that individual article page, that still works. Or inside of the article component, everything still works. Article list. Same thing. This should be straightforward because we're not dealing with anything that's specific to React Router DOM version 6. So functional component. So we got class-based component. Looks like I messed up somewhere. There we go. comment out the functional component. Class extends component. Am I importing component at the top? I am not. So import component. So from React. And then again, I could do all this stuff inside of the render if I wanted to. And everything should work except for I need this. And I also did this function inside of the render. So I could do it inside the render or outside of the render. If I do it inside the render, I need to declare a variable, just like I would in any other function. If I'm declaring it within the class section, well, this props right here needs to actually stay in render. Like that. If it's done like that, I can get rid of that. And then I need to call this dot get all teasers. And then everything should still work. I click on new site. Everything's still working. Now the last one, article teaser. I'm using the use navigate here. I'm not even gonna mess with this just because of the React Router DOM. Version 6. So I'll just leave it as is. So we converted as many over to class-based components as we could. But yeah, that's it. Do we have any questions? Somebody want to go over anything else? Does anybody want to see anything from new site 4? Want me to go over anything about it within new site 4? Maybe any extended challenges? I think I already did this one yesterday. Anything?
That extended move the search to the nav bar.
Ah, yes.
Be good.
All right. I'm going to actually convert everything back to functional based components just to keep things the same for this demo. Hopefully everything still works. All right, so I've done that article page. So that's a functional component. We'll do the home page as a functional component. Did I do this here? Post page, section page. Okay. I think everything, well, I guess this is where things get kind of wild with regards to. All right. So let's just make sure everything's still working. BOL. All right, that search is working. World, national. But I moved the search bar up to the nav bar. Now I want to be able to search there instead of having the search bar on this page. So where is everything? So I'm just going to close all the. So we've got the home page. And we moved everything to the nav bar. So it looks like I already have a form on the nav bar. So let's go ahead and comment out the form here. And moved to nav bar. There we go. All right. So I moved the form to the nav bar. But now, what logic do I have in here? The handle search is still in there. But in my app nav here, so what I'm going to need to do is inside my app.js, I'm going to pass my search query. I'm going to essentially have my search query up here, up in app nav, because right now it is, I'm sorry, up in app.js, because right now my search query, wait, where the hell is my search query? Oh, it's right here. So, what do I want to do? Handle search. So let's think about this. So if I'm grabbing data from this form, I need to somehow set the state of app.js to search query and then pass that search query down as a property on the homepage and then have the homepage fetch that article. Is kind of what I'm thinking. So let's see. Yeah. So I'm gonna have this handle search. I'm gonna move this. Move to app nav component. All right, so in my app nav, how do I do that? I'm just gonna bring this all the way over here. Handle search. Yeah, there's a couple ways we can do this, but console log, I don't need to do this stuff. I'm just gonna comment that out right now. So I just want to grab the search query. So name search, type submit. I can do on submit. What is it called? Handle search. Like so. All right. So let's just first try to get some data or get that search query. VOL. I have it right here. So now what I'm going to do is set some state, const search query, set search query equals use state. And initially it's null. And I'm going to pass the set search query down as a property to the app.nav. So I'm passing the function that's going to update this search query down to the app.nav. So here I can do props.set search query, search query. And so now that's going to change. So if I console log search query in my app.js, so like the top level, let's see see what happens when I do that. So it's loading, I'm searching. So search query is initially null. And now I click search query and now it's VOL. So now I can pass this search query down to the home page. Like that. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to remove that console log. And now I'm going to go into the home page. And console log, I'll just do props dot search query. So if I do a hard refresh, search query is initially null. VOL. Now I get search query inside the home page. Like that. So now I can do something with this search query. So let's see if I can get that search query to show up in the use effect multiple times. Because remember, the use effect can be called multiple times. So I'm just going to say VOL. So it's not being called yet. So I'm clicking search, but it's not displaying it. Because my use effect is only being called once right here. So I can say if props.search history or search query changes, call this. So let's just see. So search query. Now I'm doing VOL. Now I've got that search query showing up. So now in here, I can do fetch articles. So I'm fetching all the articles. Let's open up the articles API. Right here. So I've got fetch articles, and now we've got that can fetch all the articles, or we can just fetch the articles based off of that filter. So we can really not do any difference, except in here, we can add some conditional logic saying like, hey, if there's a search query, then add a filter to it. So how do I want to do that? How was this being passed in before in the home page? So we have that filter. So we just added that filter here. So it looks like this is the code we need right here. And I can say like, props.search query. And props.search query. So I'm saying, hey, if there's a value for search query, then apply passing that filter. And I think that's pretty much all we need. So let's take a look at this. So fetching articles, we get all the articles. And now if I type in VOL, fetching articles, we get back all of them with the VOL. Thought there was like a thing in here that's displayed how many articles I got. Oh yeah, right here. So set articles or set message. So again, in here, I can set a message if there's results back. I can either always have a message being displayed or only when my search. So I can say like if or props dot search query and set message to that. So let's refresh that. So got all the articles. I can do VOL, searching articles. Oh, looks like something. Search response is not defined. Not search response, it'll just be response. And I should probably change that, just articles. Something like that. So let's do a hard refresh, make sure. So initial search query is null. Got all the articles back. Type in VOL, fetching all the articles. Your search returned 8 results or 8 articles or whatever. So yeah. That is how we can move that. So that's how we can, yeah, move it to the nav bar. Takes a little bit of work because we have to like pass data up and then down, or grab data from one component up and then pass it down to another component. Yeah. Questions on that?
Yeah, Tom, so that search bar will work on different pages, because that's where I was getting hung up, was I was trying to navigate back to the home page from wherever I was at. So I was using navigate and then trying to apply a filter, because I was configuring it in the actual nav bar.
Wait, say that again?
That's where I got. So with that nav bar, when I clicked the search button, the submit button, it wasn't, I'm trying to reroute back to the home page, because the home page is where that main filter works. So I wanted,
right.
since it's part of the nav bar, I want it to work as part of the whole thing. And that's where I was getting stuck.
Yeah, so it's not working on the business page. So yeah, so how would we do that? I did not think of that. So on our app nav, we can always just use navigate to to the home page. Will that mess it all up though? Because that's that. Let's find that out. Yeah, that broke it. Oh, shoot. There we go. And it rerouted us back to that page, the home page. So yeah, at the end, I just either just return, you navigate, or just navigate back to the home page.
If you wanted the search to work based on the section page you're on, would you just have to add that as another filter, like filter by section and filter by title, or
Yeah.
search query, rather?
Yeah, that's just another filter you'd have to apply. So filtering is a pain in the ass when it comes, not pain in the ass, but if you actually have to develop filters through like a bunch of tables and stuff, it can get really messy really quick. Because of like, just as you said, well, what if I just wanted to search this page now? Now you have to add another parameter in there. So yeah. All right.